I would like to introduce my step-grandmother, Marilyn Sewell. She married my grandfather a little over 4 years ago and has since become a prominent figure in her family. She has lived an amazing life, but is most well known for her job as a minister of the Unitarian Church. With her vast experience about faith and religion, she offers a great insight. She has lived a truly inspirational life that many would benefit from hearing about. It was a privilege to interview her and learn more about her ideas and opinions regarding faith.
I tend to think of faith as being something that happens in an interior way. I use Emerson's term, the divine spark that exists in each one of us. So I tend to put my faith in that inner voice that lets me know what truth it is I should follow. I think we all have questions about the meaning of our lives. Why were we born? What should we do with our lives? If our lives are a gift, how do we give that gift? What does it mean to die? So we have these big questions. And I think that religions try to answer those questions. They also build community for people because people find it difficult to answer those big questions by themselves. But within a community, they feel that they can get help in answering those questions and they can feel held by that community and loved by that community. So I think that that's very important. I also think that it's important to have religious institutions that talk about the evil in our world, because we do have evil in our world. In particular, we have systemic evil. A good specific example is police brutality. It's a systemic evil in which the institution supports an evil way of behaving or a wrong way of behaving. So I think that churches need to speak out against the wrongs in our society. The most significant event of faith, I suppose, in the Southern Baptist Church could be called a salvation experience, although I don't use that language now. But it was a time when I was in a very, very precarious situation. I was a single mother with 2 young children. I couldn't get a job, even though I had 2 degrees, because I was trained to be a teacher, and teachers were being laid off because of the demographics. And then I trained as a social worker, and Ronald Reagan then got elected the same time I got my MSW. So I lost 3 jobs in 2 years. I was in unemployment lines. I was really feeling very depressed, very desperate. And so I remember there was a time when I got down on my knees, literally and figuratively, and I said, I don't know if there's a God, but I'm going to give myself away to the good as I find that good to be. I'm going to give myself away to whatever good I can do in this lifetime. And I think that was a time of, I say a salvation experience. It's a way of turning your life. I'm going in this direction thinking, oh, I could handle my life really well, to going in this direction and understanding that no, wasn't handling my life very well, and I was going to give my life over to something larger than myself, to some God, if God exists, or to the goodness that God represents, the love that God represents in the universe. That's a really good question. I was never told to believe in myself. I grew up in a household in which, well, my father was an alcoholic, and I was living with him and my grandparents. My grandparents were elderly, so they didn't have much energy for children. So nobody really ever told me that I could do anything that was worthwhile. I mean, I made good grades in school and they were glad of that, but I was never encouraged. Nobody ever came to any of my events, like I played basketball, but nobody came to those games. And nobody even came to my graduation from high school. So I felt like I really wasn't given the encouragement that I could have had. So when I was your age, I could have used some loving care and some encouragement to develop and to give my gifts. I did learn to do that as I went on to school because my teachers liked me because I was a smart girl, but I could have used some help along that line. But I think that you are a pretty well-loved child, so I don't know that would have meaning for you, what I needed when I was your age. But I think what I would tell you is that you're a very smart and gifted young woman, and I hope that you understand that life is a gift and that you will be able to give back in whatever way you were led to do to make the world a better place. I think that I've already shared some words of wisdom, if you want to call it that. What I would also say is that we have a lot of challenges in our society and in our world, and you're going to be in a world that is going to present you with lots of challenges. And what I would tell you about that is to know what you value, know what is right, and be committed to that and stick with it. Don't give up on anything easily, whether it's your own plans for your own life, your career plans, looking for the right person to, say, get married to, or whether it's helping to make the world a more just place. Don't give up on your values and on your goals, and stick to that. You know what the right thing to do is, so always, as the movie says, do the right thing. Well, I've had some struggles in my day. In particular, when I grew up, I did have some struggles with a mother who was mentally ill and a father, and I wasn't with my mother. I was taken away from her, but I didn't get to know her until I was 33, so essentially I didn't have my mother. And my father was an alcoholic, and he was a good man in many ways, but again, those struggles that I grew up with, I think it would have been very, very, very difficult for me. They were difficult, but they would have been even more difficult had I not had a belief that I was part of something bigger than myself. I always went to church when I was little. I always felt that I was a religious person. And I felt like that even though maybe my parents weren't there for me as much as I would hope that they would be, I felt that I was called to be a person in this world who did have some gifts and some talents and some strengths, and that I would be led in the right way if I trusted that. And so that's what I've always done. I've always trusted that if I would try to do the right thing, ask for advice, read, try to figure out the right way to go, then I would be led by that. And so during the tough times that I've had, and I was single for all the years of my ministry, and that was not easy. So I had to depend on my faith for that. And I had to say to myself, you're not doing this alone. You're doing this with God or with some larger entity, some creative force for good in the universe that you're a part of. So I had to always ground myself in that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.